11 months ago, Jeff Woodhouse moved to Arrowtown and set up Remarkable Vets.
We do need to get the digital up and running because I really want animal photo on file on the computer.
Every now and then he comes across animals with avoidable injuries, and one of them has just walked through the door.
Hi there. Hi.
Sadly, someone has shot this dog with an air rifle.
Fraser. Hi. Nice to see you. And Billy.
She's been shot.
She's been shot?
One of my neighbours who does strange things from time to time has just taken a pot here.
Jeepers. So you can actually see an end of the pallet?
Yeah, you can see the whole pallet.
Right.
Actually sort of hasn't gone right through the ear. But...
Okay. Let's go through, we'll take a look. See what we need to do.
Little Billy is a well-behaved border collie, and Jeff is appalled that someone would shoot at her.
Billy. Hello, sweetie. Hey. All right, where are we?
We left memory.
Oh, yeah. Right. There's no mistaking that diagnosis, is there?
No.
It's just embedded in the back there. The thing about these little things is that they've got a bit of a neck on them, and I think just plucking it out might be a little difficult. Yeah. So I think what we'll do is, it'll be simple enough. Yeah. We just need to quickly anaesthetise her, open the hole a bit, and pluck it out as atraumatically as possible. And she'll be back running around in no time. Yeah. Okay? Sure.
But Billy has to wait for surgery. Alicia and Nikki are in there prepping, and Alicia has scored the glamorous job.
I'm just doing the most exciting part of my job, the part I absolutely love, and the part Nikki, just wishes she could do. I know she goes home craving to clean up cat poo as well as I can. And you're just seeing the end. This is like sloth. This is gross.
Another avoidable injury involves a cat called Brewster. Although he appears alert, he's having breathing difficulties and he can hardly walk. He appears to have been attacked, possibly by a human.
Having been absolutely perfect last night, he struggled through the cat flap today and he's very sore around the chest area. He's a young cat, and my first impression is, without jumping to conclusions, is that he's likely to have a diaphragmatic hernia, which is a rupture of the muscle that separates the chest and the abdomen. But we're going to take an x-ray of him and see what we can see there, and maybe that he needs to go to surgery. This is an x-ray with Brewster lying on his side, and we can see that the heart is elevated from the sternum, the bottom of the chest. So it's being pushed up by something. The diaphragm is relatively intact, although I'm a little bit concerned that down the bottom here there is something poking through, possibly some fat, and the lungs are looking a little bit compressed or collapsed. So there's enough evidence here to say, we need to go in and explore it surgically.
But as they prepare Brewster for surgery, the affairs are confirmed. Nikki discovers other, quite severe injuries inflicted in an attack.
He's got quite a lot of bruising, Jeff, around the thorax here.
Which is quite an unusual injury. He's clearly taken a blow of some sort to here. It's not really consistent with jumping out of a tree. It's also not consistent with a road accident. There had seen no other lesions on him, no scuffed claws or anything along those lines. He may have been kicked. It's certainly the right area and the right sort of level of damage that would be consistent with that.
Okay.
If somebody has kicked Brewster, there's bound to be internal damage. The only way to assess the extent of his injuries is to open him up.
19.
Okay.
Because Brewster's lungs are partially collapsed, Nikki monitors his breathing throughout the operation.
There was a small diaphragmatic hernia there. It wasn't as big as I thought it might have been from the way he was breathing, so I've taken that out and repaired the diaphragm. And he did also have what we call a pneumothorax, where there's been some rupture or popping of the lung tissue, which has allowed air to get into his chest.
Jeff takes another x-ray just to be certain. Then the cat is put back in his box to recover. A couple of hours later, Brewster's awake and wondering what's happened to his tummy.
We don't see a lot of maltreatment of animals, so it's certainly the exception rather than the rule, where we see very little poor treatment. It does exist, and sometimes it's through ignorance rather than intent. And that's part of our role, is to try and educate and try and raise the standard, raise the bar for animal care. and we try and do that on a daily basis.
Now it's Billy's turn. Jeff has assigned Nikki and Julie to remove the pallet from her ear.
Go, gorgeous.
Although it's not a difficult procedure, as in any surgery, cleanliness is vital.
This is not a sterile procedure, but even still, we keep as great a sterility as we possibly can because we don't want to introduce anything. But it's all nice and clean. We've certainly got rid of all the grot in the region.
Meanwhile, Diesel the cat's found a new place to take a nap. It's suitably quiet and wonderfully warm whenever a fax arrives. Back in the surgery, Nikki has good news for Billy.
Popped out. So there you go. Yeah.
The Border Collie will be back to normal in no time. Now all that's required is a quiet word with the uncaring marksman who shot her.
Just give a bit of a flush in there just to make sure we don't leave any grot behind. It's all good. Very nice.
A country vet's life is never quiet for long. Later that evening, Jeff and Alicia have been called in for an emergency operation. Martha the Jack Russell is having pups, but she's in trouble. Martha had 4 pups last year, but only one of them lived. If Jeff doesn't intervene this time, the pups might die.
She's gone into second stage labour where she's been pushing but nothing happening, and we've elected on the basis of that and the history of last time to just go straight in and do a caesarean to just sort of bypass any problem steps really and just get them out as quickly as we can.
And it doesn't take long. 6 minutes later, the first pup is delivered.
Nice down there. Okay, Alicia, straight to you. 2 at the moment. Yep, that's fine.
Alicia is massaging the pups to stimulate their breathing and to warm them up.
Okay, number 2. So just 2 puppies today. Both looking pretty good to start with.
That's a boy, good boy.
Keep it nice and insulated, nice and warm. Okay, we'll touch base tomorrow. Okay, have a chat in the morning and just make sure that everything's ticking along all right. Okay? Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers. See you later. Great, good result, good result. I've often said that the most rewarding parts of this job happen to be the late night obstetrics, whether it's small animals like this or whether it's large animals. Like, they can be a pain when they're happening and interrupts things, but when it all goes smoothly, it's just the best. So, no, I'm really happy with that.
It's early afternoon at Remarkable Vets, and Nikki has a problem on her hands.
That'll come off easy enough.
Or rather, it's on the floor.
Jeff bought some tanks last week for the X-ray developer and fixer, which is fantastic because we have been improvising beautifully. But I filled up the one with the developer here. This came off and it started leaking all over the floor. And developer cost an absolute fortune, so you just don't want to lose a drop. Anyhow, screaming out to Vicky, grab the other tank, because it was in the other room. And while I was sort of yelling out to her, this just came off in my hand, so we just had a gutter. And so we managed to get most of it, it's still a bit on the floor, most of it into here. And then I noticed this was leaking. So this stain on the floor, that's just developer, that's all it is. And it'll be fine. Yeah. But the thing is, this water's got developer in it.
Yes.
So that's why if you
can't
keep...
clean the floor with the...
No, you can't. You can't clean the floor with developer. And there's someone's footprint. Who is in here barefoot?
This minor disaster couldn't have come at a worse time. There's a horse in the backyard, and she's here for an X-ray.
Jeff did some nerve blocks trying to work out where the lameness was, and you can see down here she's got some bits shaved off and discovered that it was in this sort of fetlock area. So today we're going to take some X-rays and work out whether she's going to make it as an eventer or a jumper, or whether she's going to become a broodmare. And obviously from my point of view, I hope she's going to be an eventer and a jumper.
That's fine, that's good, that's good, that's good.
This unconventional X-ray requires a bit of Kiwi ingenuity, some bits of 4x2 and a few nails.
Okay.
Taking X-rays of PC is the easy part. Now Jeff has to process them. With the new tanks out of action, it's back to the old kitchen sink. Problem solved? Not quite. Jeff's having a day of it.
It's not kicking into full power. Gosh, it's a bit annoying. We'll get on the phone to those guys, sort this out as well. I don't need it right now because I've got X-rays to show to a client. These things are sent to try us. Trials and tribulations of practice.
At least Nikki has some good news.
They're sending 2 new tanks.
Okay.
And a bottle of developer.
Developer?
Yeah. So, and he's going to come around next week and pick these up. So you don't have to worry about shipping them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But minor disasters have to take a back seat. Life at the clinic goes on, and as usual, there's a wide range of animals needing attention.
How's that? Hey? How's it going? It's relaxing.
Today, there's a touch of sadness in the air at Remarkable Vets. Trainee nurse Julie is returning to school at Massey next week. She'll be sorely missed.
She's fantastic. You know, she's going to go back with a wealth of experience, and she'll apply those practical elements that she's seen here. She'll come out a very, very well-rounded and well-trained veterinary nurse.
And Julie has a secret that surprised everyone.
It took me a while to click onto this, but you know, she's actually a qualified barrister.
I've been to law school and I am a qualified barrister and solicitor. I've never practiced. It took me 4 years of school to realize that I wasn't sure that I wanted to do that every single day. So this is definitely more me and a lot more enjoyable just for me day to day. I thought I would be relegated to the back just observing and maybe answering the odd phone, maybe washing the odd dog, but no, I've just been part of the team since day one, and it far exceeded my expectations.
Being a new businessman in town brings with it certain responsibilities. Jeff's been talked into doing something that's slightly out of his comfort zone. He's agreed to take part in a local fashion show.
It's tight. Sorry, I'm a bit short on time.
Okay, that's okay. I've got a wee look happening here for you.
This is the price you pay for starting a new business and trying to get up there in the community.
This particular look is kind of very casual, daytime. It's, you know, everyday wear, so,
Okay.
but it's something different for you, possibly.
Yeah, I'm not casual at all. Okay, if you're happy, that's fine.
Yeah, no,
okay.
we're happy.
And already Jeff's having second thoughts.
I'm not looking forward to this at all, but I'm doing it for the spirit of Arrowtown. So, you know, I was asked to do it. I think it's new business. It's a good way to get the face out there, and I think I just really had to do it. Not that I'm looking forward to it at all.
Before he can go home, Jeff has one last job for the evening. And Diesel senses that something is up.
Alicia's coming in a few minutes to just help us sort out the star of the day, who's going to be Achilles. He's reached his time when it's time for his castration. So he's completely oblivious to his imminent fate. But he will not feel a thing. So hopefully Alicia will feel the same way when she helps me do it.
While Jeff has premedicated Achilles, the former stray is as feisty as ever.
This is premedicated.
Pretty lively, I know.
This is a premedicated.
He's full of beans. Don't worry, big guy. You ready?
Good boy. Look at you. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Don't take it personally.
Diesel has been around the clinic long enough to have seen a few operations, and he's not sticking around.
There are lots of behavioural reasons for castrating Achilles. He's now just reaching the point of maturity where he's far more likely to start becoming territorial, getting into fights with other cats. He will then expose himself potentially to some risks, not just fight wounds, but also disease transmission, feline AIDS, feline leukemia virus in particular, and also, of course, fathering more unwanted Achilles. Be a great dad, but we don't need unwanted kittens at all. So, very compelling reasons for neutering in this case.
Voila. He's off.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
But being Achilles, he's playful again within a few minutes. It's an early night for Jeff. He'll be home before 10. It's Saturday morning, Jeff's big day. He's due to make his debut as a fashion model, and Fiona is minding the clinic.
Get the number on that.
Yeah.
They've had a few patients through this morning, including these kittens, who have had a brush with death.
The builder brought them in. They'd been clearing a site with the digger and lifted up some boarding that was lying with the digger, and there's 3 little kittens lying there. They were about 3.5, 4 weeks old possibly.
Jeff's given them a check over. They're all healthy and probably don't realise just how fortunate they've been.
They're cute little critters and brilliantly playmates for kids, and to not be squished by the digger, they were quite lucky really.
The clinic has an excellent success rate in rehousing stray kittens. These little fellows will all find good homes in no time. Just down the road, Arrowtown's getting ready for its annual autumn festival.
You've made it.
The clinic staff are setting up a petting zoo, a place for children to come along and meet some animals. They have goats and sheep, a rabbit, and of course, Diesel, who's not impressed at being kept on a lead. The festival's a colourful event and the whole town gets involved. And then there's the fashion show, where local personalities strut their stuff on the catwalk. Jeff's ready for his public debut, and he has a secret weapon.
Yeah, we're going for the aviator look today. And Coco fits right in. She's my co-pilot.
A few of Jeff's fans have turned out for the event.
Fantastic, and Jeff Woodhouse, local vet, he's about to become a TV star on the national TV programme Remarkable Vets. And what's he wearing today, Trudy?
Jeff's got a very funky look on here. Got a fantastic leather aviator hat on, possum lined, that's available from across the road at the Golden Fleece. Teamed up with...
Fine having the accessory with me, until she tried to get her glasses off.
And of course the dog accessories are available from the Remarkable Vets.
Not too bad, I can't really remember being out there now.
A quick costume change, and it's back for the finale.
Just got that little bit of flair, which we're after. That's our clinic style. Do things a little differently.
Jeff is looking very funky in a remodelled vintage suit, funnily enough called the Remarkable Man suit from Nemo.
It's not my personality to get up and parade in front of a crowd of people for with some clothing, but it's got a sort of bigger cause to it. So I think having your own business helps you wipe away some of those self-conscious moments and self-conscious feelings.
Thank you very much to all our fantastic models.
There's just one more thing on today's agenda, a leaving party for Julie.
Oh, you're going to move on, you know.
Okay, thank you. Funny about it though. Julie, these are for you, okay?
Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much
No.
for all your help, for sure. It's been absolutely amazing. So all the sentiments in the card are there from everybody. And they're certainly meant from the heart. And thank you, Scott, for allowing us help. No, that didn't come out well. Yeah. Julie, best luck with exams.
To the success of Remarkable Vets, the practice and the show.
Thank you very much.
Brewster the cat has recovered fully from his operation, though his tummy still feels a bit strange. And Achilles has found a new hobby. He's taken up soccer. Next week on Remarkable Vets, Julie returns to help with the ongoing Kiwi case.
You're losing this one.
Jeff comes up against a stroppy cat, and the clinic prepares for a very special visitor.
He's got stuff for your puppies, for sheep and for pets, and potions